As the US presidential campaign shifts into high gear ahead of the Super Tuesday contest in early March, the focus seems to be on the age of the two frontrunners, both Joe Biden and his Republican challenger, former President Donald Trump. But the attack has been sharper on Joe Biden because of his frequent public gaffes and also the latest special counsel report into a classified documents investigation. Biden last week blasted the report by special counsel Robert Hur, accusing the report's authors of extraneous commentary about his age and his mental capacity. The investigation into Biden's handling of the classified documents after being vice president concluded that he was a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. The report went on to add that he had diminished faculties in an advancing age. They don't know what they're talking about. That was the president's response in a rather flat tone. Biden appeared to take special exception to the report, asserting that during interviews with FBI investigators, he could not recall which year his son Beau died. How the hell dare he raise that? That's what the president said, appearing to choke back tears in front of reporters. Biden was questioned for over 2 days for over 5 hours each in October by the special counsel and his team. The report's discussion of Joe Biden's memory and his age was repeated throughout the 345-page document. It was quickly seized upon by Republicans, including by Biden's likely opponent in the 2024 election, former President Donald Trump. In the report, special counsel Robert Hur says that the memory of the 80-year-old president was so hazy during 5 hours of interviews over a couple of days that it would be difficult to convince a jury that Biden knew that his handling of documents was wrong. In part because of Biden's memory, Hur declined to recommend charging the president. But the report did go on to say that Biden could be accused of willful retention of national security secrets, including some documents that were shared by the president which implicated sensitive intelligence sources and methods. Concerns about Biden's age have been a recurring theme in his presidency in the last 4 years. Fueled in part by a video of the president appearing weak or stumbling in public, many voters have expressed this as their number one concern about Biden, about his mental and physical fitness as he hopes to remain in the White House until he is at least 86 years old. And Biden did not help his cause either immediately after the report was made public. In his remarks on Thursday evening, right after the release of the report, Biden confused the presidents of Mexico and Egypt. He referred to President al-Sisi as the president of Mexico when he's actually the leader of Egypt. And López Obrador, who is the president of Mexico, that the US president should confuse the name of his most immediate neighbor to the south is a concern amongst voters, especially since immigration from the southern border with Mexico is one of the top issues in this election. Republicans began using the report right away to attack Biden. Donald Trump was scathing in his criticism of Biden, saying that his mental faculties are in decline and that he's not fit to serve as president. But it's not as if Trump himself is not facing similar charges of being too old for the job. His only Republican rival in the field, Nikki Haley, has been criticizing Trump for losing his mental faculties. She used the Robert Hur report to target both Biden and Trump for being overaged for the job. Donald Trump has his own mental deficiencies and he's prone to temper tantrums and wild rants. That's what Nikki Haley said in an online statement. She continued by noting that Trump confuses countries and world leaders and, more importantly, who was in charge of Capitol Hill security on the 6th of January 2021. Trump has repeatedly confused Nikki Haley with former Speaker Nancy Pelosi. In a new series titled Grumpy Old Men, the Haley campaign is planning to start unveiling online videos and digital advertisements, as well as voter mailers, to underscore the ways in which they feel that both the party frontrunners, both Democrat and Republican, are similar. The episodes have titles like Stumbling Seniors, Basement Buddies, and Profligate Pals. It takes shots at both her rivals, Biden and Trump, and their signs of mental confusion. Biden is the oldest person ever to serve as president. He's also the oldest person ever to run for re-election. And if he's successful in the 2024 election, Biden would be 86 by the time he demits office. Ronald Reagan, by comparison, was a mere 77 when he ended his second term in 1989. And Reagan, up until now, holds the record for the oldest president after 2 terms. Biden, if he is successful in 2024, would beat Reagan by almost a decade. But age-related stumbles and fumbles also means fewer public appearances, and that is a problem for such a public and high-profile role as the President of the United States. A New York Times report had earlier found a startling fact. In the 100 years since Calvin Coolidge became president, only Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan have held as few press conferences as Joe Biden. Biden had also given fewer interviews than the last 6 presidents. He's only given 86 interviews in the last 4 years as president. Trump gave 300 and Obama gave over 400. For the second year in a row, Biden has even refused to do an interview before the Super Bowl. That's a practice that normally allowed presidents to speak to Americans in a very informal manner before the country's biggest sporting event of the year. But age alone is not a factor in these polls. American society itself is becoming more and more geriatric. The boomer generation, which both Biden and Trump belong to, is the largest group of over 65-year-olds that America has ever had in its history. And with advances in medical science, many of the boomers or the boomer generation are living longer, and they're also becoming active politically. Seniors and their care is also a regular election issue. The question then, both in the case of Biden and Trump, should not be so much age, but about their mental fitness. At 78 and 82, both the stumbling seniors will be tested during the heat and dust of this upcoming campaign.